Alright, I've just pulled up. I'm just going to walk off the road here. I'm just going to communicate something that's been brewing for a long time. And to put it bluntly, it's the farming of the farmers. I spent 12 years as someone responsible for making the day-to-day decisions on farms here in New Zealand, and I look back and the say that I had in the running of the operation was really quite small, in that really I was just doing what the advisors were telling the owners and the shareholders of the properties that I was managing what they needed to be doing. And so me as a farm manager, it was really mostly about ticking the boxes and doing exactly what I was told by the same person telling other people in the area and other people around the country that same sort of generic advice as to what to do in these hugely simplified systems that we call agriculture, especially in the dairy industry, which I was involved in for most of that time, as I mentioned, as a farm manager. But at the moment, you know, with all this groundswell protests about you know, farmers being the enemy, I just wanted to point out that it's actually the people that are influencing the farmers that we need to be looking at. The people that are telling the farmers what to do. All the privately funded research around the way that our farms should look, mostly to suit the financial investment behind the research around any one product and the, you know, usefulness of these products within our farming systems. For instance, there's two companies in New Zealand, well there's more, but there's two big players in fertilizer use in New Zealand. There's a blue company and a green company, and I'm not going to name those companies, but I'm sure most of you on this that are watching this video will know who I'm talking about here. All we've got to do is look around as we're driving down the road, and there's no townships that you drive through that don't have a big green sign or a big blue sign, or at least both. And it's the overuse of these chemicals and fertilizers in these hugely susceptible, oversimplified systems that are causing the environmental degradation that farmers are being blamed for. And again, I want to point out, it's not the farmers, guys, it's the influencers, it's the advisors, it's the directors of these companies telling farmers that they need it. It's the people behind the paying for the research and the science to back up all of these claims about how farmers need X amount of fertilizer and X amount of chemicals, and anyone that's not doing that is weird or considered as being a hippie or a greenie. The dialogue's got to change. It's that underlying stereotype that we were born into and inherited about anything that's not best practice, or anything that's not uniform, or we even have a term called the tall poppy syndrome. If you're doing anything different, you're weird, you're ostracized, you're put out, cast aside, ridiculed. And it seems to be that farming is like the only industry in the world where most people want to do things the same. We have a standard best practice. It's backed by a lot of credible and reputable science, and anyone that's not doing that is weird. And it's no wonder we've got the issues that we have right now. For instance, my water that I have to drink from and shower in every day in my home is actually classed as being unsafe as far as nitrate levels. And so every time I have to pour my children a glass of water and I know that that water is too high in nitrates and is actually scientifically proven to be unsafe to drink, given where I live in the plains, that's just part of the parcel in the Canterbury Plains. But I never once get down on the farmers, but I do get down on the people farming the farmers, the people that are influencing the farmers. And if that's, you know, and I find myself getting really pissed off at looking at the amount of buy-in that we have for these companies. You know, the companies that are telling farmers they need to spend their money on these products that are causing this environmental and animal health degradation that ripples down into human health. And it's no wonder we've got the suicide and depression rates we do as farmers in New Zealand, highest rate of any industry. It's because farmers don't actually get a say in what they do. They're just being told what to do and just ticking the boxes, whether it's by industry leaders, farm advisors, government, all that top down. And then we've got different people in different governments, different political parties, different companies advising these farmers when the farmers are ridiculed and they feel that like they're backed into a corner and need to stand up and band together and stand up against the man and create all this division. And then it's those guys that were, you know, that have created the problem, those advisors, those companies that are telling farmers they need to keep putting fertilizer on and the rates that we do. They're the ones out there saying, hey guys, we've got your back, and telling everyone else, don't get down on farmers. When it's those advisors and owners of these companies dependent on farmers having the wool pulled over their eyes that are causing the problems in the first place. But everyone's, you know, they've got this thing like loyalty towards their advisors and their brands, the brands that support New Zealand agriculture. You know, the farmers are so loyal to them, and they've got no idea they're the ones being farmed. The farmers are the ones being farmed. You look at the scale in New Zealand of farmers, and you look at the amount of diversity in those farming systems, there's next to none. Meanwhile, our water's undrinkable, and we're going from drought to flood, and we're losing over 90 million tonnes of topsoil every year due to runoff going out into the rivers and out into the ocean. And we're all sitting here, you know, arguing over it's the farmers. No, it's the cities, and yet no one's looking at the real cause, which is the influence created by industry and by current science fallacies and I'll just call them beliefs, because that's most of what we operate from, is just these historic beliefs backed up by science that's funded by the very companies that benefit from these beliefs. And it's just time I called them out. And if that sounds like you're someone that's influential towards farmers and food producers, I invite you to take a good hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I part of the solution here, or am I part of the problem? And it's nothing personal. Remember, I was that person. I was that person responsible for not only recommending the chemicals but also applying them. I had it that my way was the right way, and I wasn't keen to openly admit the resignation around my role as someone who makes a living killing life, whether it be soil microbes, plants, or weeds that don't fit our paradigm, or insects, anything, just kill the lot. The years that I spent doing that, even though I'd happily take the paycheck every month, deep down I knew it wasn't right. So if that's you, and you're stuck in the rut of, you're in a position where you know what you're doing in your advisory role, or your role with the company that you work for doesn't fit right, it doesn't sit well with you, something in your gut tells you it's not right, get in touch with me, please. I'll be keen to talk to you or with you about the opportunities that lie in agriculture going forward, opportunities to change the dialogue and shift our food production model towards one that aligns with nature, so we don't have these silly us and them conversations. We can actually embrace diversity, embrace the complexity that are the natural systems that we are a part of, not that we are better than or that we are you know, controllers of. No, this is the environment that we are all part of, and it's massively complex. It's time we start treating it that way. No more bloody completely flat, take all the trees out, put on centre pivots, put the fert on, and wait for the wheels to fall off, because I think the wheels have already started to fall off that system, and we at least need to stop the train of which the wheels are falling off and look at building a new one. So if you're keen to be involved in building that new train, get in touch. I'd love to support you. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. People just get caught up in making money and righteousness and being scared of being wrong and the fear of unknown and discomfort and all those things. And they're basically all that's stopping us from looking at each other and say, hey guys, we got a bit lost. We went in the wrong direction a little bit. Now what do we do? Well, let's create something together. That's all it takes.